Welcome along. Thank you, councillors. Thank you to the public for coming along to our first meeting and the resumption of meetings in Wellington. It's fantastic to see so many people come along. I advise this meeting is being streamed live to the internet. All those present should refrain from making any defamatory statements, and upon joining these online meetings, you accept the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archive of the recorded council meetings and standing committee meetings. There'll also be some people in the audience who may like to take photos or take videos as well, so just be aware of that. So I'd like to first of all ask Councillor Wright to say the prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. O God, grant that by the knowledge of thy will, all we may resolve shall work together for good. And we pray this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Burns, could I ask you to do the acknowledgement of country and the recognition of National Sorry Day?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The welcome will be through the mother, Makata Najang Mara Nyanyanina Ramang Tabaga Waradri, Wilay Waradri, Manga Waradri. And today being National Sorry Day, a day of remembrance and acknowledgement of the mistreatment of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who were forcibly removed from their families, communities and culture. Dubbo Regional Council is committed to reconciliation as a step towards healing for the stolen generations, their families and communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Next item on the agenda is CCL 22/108, leave of absence. I have a request for leave of absence for Councillors Damien Mann and Councillor Pam Wells. Can I move those two leaves of absence, please? Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Seconded, Councillor Wright. Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is conflicts of interest, CCL 22/109. Councillors, are there any councillors with a conflict of interest? Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a bit of, what do you call it, non-pecuniary and less than significant interests in the MOU with the DA, Aboriginal Community Working Party, and I'll bring that up when the time comes. So right, I'll probably be staying in.
Thank you, Councillor Burns. That's CCL 22/132 in relation to that. Councillors, any other conflicts? No, there being none, I'll move on to the next item. Next item is CCL 22/110, Public Forum. So we've got a number of speakers registered for Public Forum, which is fantastic. So just to go over the rules of Public Forum, the Public Forum gives you 5 minutes to come up and speak about any topic you'd like to speak about. Most speakers are identifying something within the agenda, but the topics are broad. You can speak to whatever you like. At 4 minutes 30, I'll make a noise. There's a ding on the microphone here that I'll make so that you know you're at 4 minutes 30. And then at 5 minutes, I'll ask you to stop talking because obviously we want to make sure we've got enough time for everyone. The code of meeting practice is such that Public Forum is limited initially to 30 minutes. I imagine that with the number of speakers we have here, we'll get to our 30-minute mark. Once we do that after that last speaker, then I'll ask councillors to move a motion to extend our Public Forum so we've got a chance for everyone to speak. So it's only a procedural process, but we've just got to do that to marry up with our code of meeting practice. So essentially, I'll just ask each person to come up, and then when everyone's spoken that's registered, then there's a chance for anyone else that wants to put their hand up and speak about any topic they'd like to speak about, again, within that 5-minute time frame that you've got per speaker. So hopefully that makes it clear to everyone. When you come to the microphone, please just state your name, and if it's in relation to a specific item or a topic, just for the reference for everyone listening, just so they know what you're mainly focused on, just please identify what the actual item is. So the first item, or the first person, speaker, and these are taken in the order that people registered to speak, so there's no alphabetical order or any certain preference, it's just as they registered to speak. The first speaker that's registered is Dorothy Blake. So Dorothy, I just can't see. Oh, there we go, down the back there. If you'd like to come to the microphone, and again, as I said, just state your name, what you're talking about, and then your 5 minutes, and just listen out for that 4 minute 30 mark. Thank you, Dorothy.
My name is Dorothy Blake and I'm speaking on behalf of Wellington Historical Society. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to address you on behalf of the Society. As you're aware, Wellington has a great and important history, much more than Dubbo. It was the first convict settlement west of the Blue Mountains and has been in existence since 1823. Our society's been operating since 1952 and we've run the museum since 1967 on a totally volunteer basis. As keepers of items relating to the European history of the area, we feel its history is worth preserving for future generations. And I'd like to say that since amalgamation, we've had, I think, a good relationship with Dubbo Regional Council, and I personally have appreciated the support of both Jamie Angus and Jessica Moore. At a meeting in April 2021, we were assured that we would be given the whole of the old police station to use as a museum. We were therefore shocked to be told that we could not include the old cells as a visitor experience, nor could we erect any sheds, etc., in the large yard to display our vintage vehicles, farm equipment and so on. Council's original idea for the building was a police and justice museum, and we wonder how could that have happened without the cells being opened. We feel the issue of a DA for the cells should have been looked into before now. We've got two major concerns with moving the museum. What will happen to the Windora Schoolhouse and Stinson Cottage, at present in the yard of the Warren Street building? And also our rotary shed houses unique vehicles and farm equipment, which are of great importance to Wellington's history. We were promised that security fences would be installed after we moved to protect these buildings, but this hasn't occurred. These three buildings are of major interest, particularly to school groups, and their security and possible later relocation should be a high priority. Our other concern is the safe storage of items in our collection, which will not be relocated due to lack of space. Our ideal location would be safe, lockable, with only a few key holders and within a short distance of the old police station, so that our volunteer members can access items to change displays, etc. I would point out to councillors that we were offered the old Wellington Warehouse building in Percy Street as a venue for the museum, which would have been ideal for displays and had space for our vehicles, and also the two buildings. Would have been closer to the town centre, and we suspect a lot cheaper to set up than the old police station has been. Having said all that, the committee and members of Wellington Historical Society have had many discussions on this subject, as you can imagine, and we are of the mind that if we were given access to the cells and the exercise yard to expand our displays, and further discussions and planning regarding the outbuildings in Warren Street, we would be very willing to locate to the old police station permanently. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Appreciate that, and under 5 minutes, well done. The next registered speaker is Robert Riley. Robert, if you could come forward, thank you. Same deal, Mr. Riley. Just tell us your name, obviously Robert Riley, but what you're speaking in relation to, and you've got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yep, so my name is Robert Riley. I'm chairperson of the Dubbo Aboriginal Community Working Party. I'm here to talk in support of a partnership agreement which we have worked tirelessly with DRC. Previously, we've always had just a memorandum of understanding, and that has worked well to date. And we've achieved such things as the Wiradjuri Gardens, also the Wiradjuri Cultural Centre, which is shortly going into the building stage. And I just believe that we've tried to strengthen this as a partnership agreement. The Aboriginal community make up 20 to 25% of the Dubbo community, and I just believe that a partnership agreement could achieve more goals for both council and the Aboriginal community. So yes, once again, I'll just be quick and short, but just like to say that strengthening the MOU to a partnership would, I think, go a long way to strengthening the relationship in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. The next registered speaker is Narelle Jeffrey. Again, Ms. Jeffrey. Difficult to get around. There's so many people there, which was great. Thank you, Ms. Jeffrey.
Hello, my name's Narelle Jeffrey. I'm a member of the Dubbo Eisteddfod Committee, and also here representing the Performing Arts Collective, which has been formed in Dubbo. Before I commence addressing the issue that I'm here to talk to, which is the DRTC photograph policy, I'd just like to acknowledge that tonight I am privileged to be here on Aboriginal land speaking to you all, and to pay my respect to Elders past and present, and to extend a very big thank you to all emerging Aboriginal leaders here today. Thank you. So I'm here talking about the DRTC photograph policy, and I understand that is an item that's been listed tonight for consideration. It stems, I think, in relation to a framework coming from a child protection viewpoint about ensuring the safety and wellbeing of children appearing at the DRTC venue in at Dubbo. It appears that the policy has arisen due to perhaps an incident that arose some time ago, and policy was then made by Dubbo Regional Council in and around taking of photographs back of stage from the wings of the theatre complex itself. And I'm here today to encourage Council to adopt a different approach to the one that is currently in existence. I think as hirers of that particular venue, we certainly have the interests of children at the forefront. It's our responsibility, as it is for everybody in this room, to make sure that our vulnerable children are well protected. Both the Dance Collective and the Eisteddfod Committee, though, wish to be able to showcase, I guess, the friendship that is formed at Eisteddfod's. And at times you can see that best from being able to take a candid photo from the wing. By restricting the Eisteddfod and the Performing Arts Collective in being able to do that, we're not actually really showing the vibrancy and the warmth that is occurring behind the scenes. And I think that's something that's really invaluable for all people within our community to be really aware of. So tonight I'm really seeking council support to perhaps look at reviewing some of that policy, adopting a different approach to be able to take photographs that certainly keep the forefront of our children at the ever-present, but also enable both hirers, the Eisteddfod Committee and other affiliated performing arts groups to use that venue to be very inclusive and to make sure that we are actually showcasing something that actually contributes to the performing arts culture that we want within our local region. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Jeffrey. The next speaker on the public forum is Mr James McKechnie. Mr McKechnie, thank you.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, councillors, CEO, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James McKechnie. I work for Charles State University. I'm the Director of External Engagement based at the Dubbo campus. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the lands on which we are meeting today and also pay respect to emerging elders and past and present ones as well. Thank you for this opportunity to address the Council in respect of item 22130, the proposed Memorandum of Understanding between Charles State University and Dubbo Regional Council. Both parties have had a long, effective relationship over the last 30 years, and the MOU would formalise or could formalise the willingness and opportunities that exist from collaboration between the two parties. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the ethos of the university, which is Inyamara Winangana. That means the wisdom of knowing how to respectfully live well in a world worth living in. So when we developed our university strategy recently, that formed the ethos or the basis of what we would do in the community. When I looked at the DRC 2040 strategy, there was a lot of commonality in the things we're trying to achieve. Things in regional engagement. We're trying to achieve with Council mutually beneficial and productive relationships across government and industry, and to use these to leverage the capacity and results for the Dubbo region. The university, while focused on the provision of higher education, has a passion and commitment to provide more than just education to regional New South Wales, and particularly the Dubbo and Dubbo, include Narromine, and Wellington regions. Our aim is to be an anchor institution. So with the collaboration of Council, we can focus on initiatives such as employment opportunities, First Nations business, research and education pathways. A key component of the MOU is regular discussions between Council and the university, and I'd welcome councillors to have input into these discussions through the CEO and Mayor. So in closing, I'd like to thank Council for considering the MOU later in the meeting and look forward to any outcomes resulting from that consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr McKechnie. The next item, or the next speaker registered, is Ms Karen McHale. Karen, if you'd like to come forward to the microphone. Thank you.
My name's Karen McHale, and I'm speaking on dog attacks in a local village. Mr Mayor, councillors, Chief Executive Officer, senior staff, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karen McHale, and I have been given authority by the victim of the dog attack in question to speak on her behalf, and a copy of this authority has been supplied to council and individual councillors. I have also forwarded a written statement by the victim to all councillors, together with photographs, and I'm sorry if they were a bit graphic, but no other way to show you, showing the injuries sustained by the victim as a consequence of this attack, together with her written authority for me to represent her. The incident occurred excuse me, on the 11th of March 2022, and today is the 26th of May 2022. No update or communication has been received from council other than a text message from the Mayor, which I actually sent to him on the 20th of March. And he requested details of the victim and a brief outline of the incident. As the two dogs in question have been returned to their owners, the victim believes she has the right to know council's position and what action, if any, has been taken by council. And I would also like to bring to the attention of council, on the 19th of May, a further attack has taken place in the village, and we've only been alerted to this matter in the last 4 days. Now, the victim lives next door to the offending critters, and was told in no uncertain terms to fix some part of the fence that was, I don't know, squivelled. As soon as the victim put his hand on the fence, the dog attacked him. He now has 1 broken finger and 3 others with stitches in it. Now, he was requested by the owner to fix part of that fence. When the dog attacked him, the owner said, "The dog is only doing what it's trained to do." Well, hello. What is more important in this day and age? Are humans more important than animals, or vice versa? Now, the victim, second victim, went in to see the rangers, I believe yesterday, and was told by 2 junior rangers, sorry, all over Red Rover. Now, I would like to think council, am I interrupting, Mr Mayor?
No, continue on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to think that at some stage, council would come and speak with now the second victim and work something out, because this is actually quite atrocious.
So-
what is going on?
Thank you, Mr McHale. Just be mindful of making derogatory remarks about staff. The idea here is for you to present your argument.
Well, I'm not making a derogatory remark. I'm just stating a fact.
Mr McHale, I don't want to have an argument. I'm just saying I don't want to have derogatory remarks about staff made. So continue to state your position and what you want to happen, but just be careful of not making derogatory remarks, because the staff aren't here to defend themselves and can't defend themselves. This is a council meeting, so happy to hear your thoughts and comments, but just be careful you don't make derogatory remarks about staff, please. Thank you.
But what we would like is for council to come to the party to talk to now 2 victims. Now, the first victim that I am carting to hospital twice a week for dressings and skin grafts, which didn't work, unfortunately, and the mess is just getting worse and worse. So we would like to know where we stand with any of this as far as council goes. Does council have any redress, or whatever the word is, I don't quite know. Well, I suppose I'm asking, does council have the power to sort this out?
So that's the finish of your statement, Ms McHale. This is not designed to answer questions. This is not a debate forum. This is for you to make a presentation.
Yep.
So that's the finish of your commentary.
I'll finish on that note.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. No worries.
Well done. Okay, the next speaker we have for public forum is Mr. Mark Griggs. Mr. Griggs, if you'd like to come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councillors and CEO, senior staff and staff, and welcome to Wellington. It's so nice to see a chamber full once again. My name is Mark Griggs and I'm just speaking on Australia Day committees. Now, Mr. Mayor, Australia Day means a lot to many people in Dubbo and Wellington, so much so that we actually conduct an Australia Day ceremony every year, of which hundreds of people attend in both towns. I don't know about Dubbo, but I do know a lot about Wellington's Australia Day celebrations, being a local councillor and involved with the day for 21 years before amalgamation, and also during the administration period. However, things turned sour after the first council elections and the new administration. In Wellington, we had a very hard-working committee of about 8 people with a couple of councillors, council reps, which were councillors of course. The committee chair was elected by the committee and which was normally a committee member and not a councillor. Committee members were made up of previous citizens of the year who were invited to join, so each member had a purpose. Administration placed a staff member as secretary and organiser of council business. The system worked perfectly. Throughout the year, each committee member searched and found suitable people to be nominated and worked with the person's friends, family and colleagues to have him or her nominated. Committee members were out there hanging Australia Day posters in shops and businesses, organising snags for the barbecue, and not all was left to staff. The committee met at least 4 times from about September to the selection meeting, and awards presentations on the day were shared by several of the members of the committee as, if you like, a payment for the hard work done, the Mayor and the Australia Day Ambassador. All of this worked perfectly until the first year of the previous council, when the Mayor decided he should present all awards. It took a fair bit of determined argument before he relented to allow the Ambassador to make one award, the Citizen of the Year, which of course he was still in the photo. Most of the committee members resigned after that year. Then council called for expressions of interest, and I was one of those 6 from this region selected and appointed by resolution of council. Throughout the first and only meeting, which was the awards selection meeting, the Mayor paid more attention to his iPhone than the agenda. The next day I received a phone call from a council staff member telling me that I was no longer required to be the Master of Ceremonies and that staff would take over. The council appointed Australia Day committee never met again throughout the rest of that council's term, as far as I am aware, as I never received another meeting notice. Forward to tonight, and a brand new council and CEO, all extolling transparency and communication, which I admire and congratulate you all for. So I believe both Dubbo and Wellington should have their own Australia Day committees, and those committee members be appointed, be responsible for the smooth flowing agenda working up to and on the day of the ceremony. And Mr. Chair, I respectfully seek Council's positive consideration of my proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griggs. The next speaker is Mr. John Trounce. Mr. Trounce, if you'd like to come forward, please.
Mayor, councillors, General Manager, support staff. My name is John Trounce. Like the previous speaker, I've spent some time in this auditorium. But my address to you today is about the Renshaw-McGirr Way. Like every road in the Dubbo Council area, it's suffering badly from damage from the rain and constant use through those bad periods. I happen to live on that road, which is, I believe, is deemed a rural arterial road. And these roads have changed the needs that they used to provide. Sorry, I'll have to put my glasses on. And with this, I believe, and I only believe this, that the state government had flagged, if they haven't already done, taken over the responsibility of these roads because of the changing use. Our rural regional roads are becoming major commercial arteries for commerce, along with emergency service traffic, ambulance, fire trucks, retrieval equipment and police, goods transfer, large and small trucks and vans. Holiday makers. We have so many of them now. Caravans. Today there was a group of caravans went past us. There was 3 in one lot and another 3 in another lot, and there wouldn't have been 50 metres between any of them. Boat trailers, when summer comes, they're a constant run between Parks and here. Tourist buses, they were very constant before COVID-19 broke out, but I believe they'll come back. There's casual tourists and others. There's also another major change in the use of the road. Agricultural service industry, which are using much more larger, sophisticated equipment. And to make this equipment viable, they are being hired out from place to place. And I've even seen people from Moree come through here with 5 or 6 very fast-track tractors with great hoppers on behind them, travelling at about 70 k's an hour. My concern is the Renshaw-McGirr Way with its bullock wagon corridor from Wellington to Curra Creek turn-off. It's been asked to carry this modern traffic demand without the necessary upgrades to safely allow this increased usage. While we're all we understand the difficulty the DRC has with high cost of maintenance and the past wet spell exacerbating the problem on these roads and others. And funding for this is, I believe, very limited. I find at times the maintenance is very ad hoc. Now, this is just not criticising anyone, it's just an observation we all make. As the hole patched, you see a hole patched, and with 30 to 40 centimetres, you'll see one that hasn't been patched. There must be a good reason for that, but I don't know what it is. The main request to Council is that the Renshaw-McGirr Way be prioritised with the state and federal funding bodies to have these 10 kilometres high priority to be reconstructed. There has been, over the life of several Wellington councils, surveyed plans for this to happen. This artery is now having high-value livestock, grains, mining equipment and tourist traffic, all being shared with a vulnerable local and through traffic. To achieve this, I believe the Engineering Department of Council be requested to dust off some of these old plans and apply updated requirements as to modern standards, and have this released as a discussion paper for our community to support, and that a request at the same time be made to the New South Government for priority funding for this necessary upgrade. The difficulties with this road will not be resolved until the following programs are followed, I believe. Realignment of the road, noting that there has been plans done with markings on the road to manage some of the worst corners, a major assessment of drainage problems, that are continually undermining the carriageway, the regular resealing of the surface to inhibit the natural expanding and contracting of the pavement and allow water to enter and undermine the pavement. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Trounce. Perfect timing. Just on your 5 minutes. Well done. The next speaker is Mr Mark Conn. Mr. Con, if you'd like to come forward to the microphone, please. That's 38 seconds gone, Mr. Con.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councillors, CEO and senior staff. I appreciate this chance to represent New South Wales farmers here tonight. I was asked to come and talk about a few issues. I haven't got my right notes with me, so I'll have to fly blind. The biggest trouble we are concerned is that the rural ratepayers within the Shire don't appear to have a voice. We have 16 committees and not one of those represents the rural ratepayers or farmland ratepayers within this Shire. The Shire is broken up into 4 categories with household, business, farmland and mining. And I just feel we're really been left out of the loop big time. And as our last speaker spoke about roads, obviously you could see what was coming. We need to operate. We've got people that can't even get to town. We've got roads where they're employing private contractors to try and fix up so they can get out their driveway, which is totally illegal and not allowed to be done. And I think that's unfair. We've got school buses that can't operate on their normal routes because roads are closed. A classic example of that is the Forest Vale Road. It's been closed for the last 48 days straight and is still closed. Back in March it was closed for 9 days. We have a fire truck on the other side of that creek. People that travel from Dubbo to Mudgee, they are east-west arterial roads, state road, will not have that service available to them if they have an accident. That road is just an outright death trap. The rural ratepayers, a lot of them are volunteer firefighters, and they don't need to see what they see. It is horrific. And we know it's a state road, just as much as our north-south road, the Saxa Road. It's like the second Newell Highway within our Shire. And we know that you need to lobby hard, along with all the residents as well, to get our state and federal funding for these roads. Because we just need to operate. And it's just not fair that, particularly when rural ratepayers, in the past LGA, contributed 70% of the total rate revenue. I know now since we've been amalgamated it's dropped back to 17%, but these people deserve to get some bang for their buck, considering there's less than about 1,000 ratepayers and a lot of those are got to play multiple assessments, so we're down to only about 500. I know we always talk about user pays, but I think the people that are paying need to get some bang for their buck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Con. Now, we've still got a few minutes left before we've got to extend any time for public forum, so I will ask if anyone else from the gallery wants to come forward and make any comment or have any discussion about anything that might be on their mind. Going once, going twice? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your participation, and I appreciate the comments, and councillors have obviously listened to what you've got to say and taken on board your comments there. The next item on the agenda is a presentation to your former Mayor, Wellington Shire Council former Mayor, and also former Deputy Mayor of Dubbo Regional Council. There's a process within local government New South Wales that if a mayor serves a certain number of years as a mayor, there is a recognition called an emeritus mayor. And in Anne Jones, your previous mayor from 2005 to 2012, and then again 2015, 2016, the time served was obviously the required amount of time to be awarded that particular award. Again, from Anne Jones' perspective, and Anne sitting in the audience, and we'll get Anne out the front in a moment, obviously many years of hard work were put into Wellington Council, and then after the amalgamation, which as Mayor of Dubbo City Council at the time, I worked very closely with the Mayor of Wellington Shire Council to try and fight against the amalgamation as it was at the time, but in working closely beside Anne Jones, it was very obvious that there was a huge amount of passion there for Wellington. After the amalgamation, that passion continued, and obviously Anne stood again and represented Dubbo Regional Council, and obviously representing the Wellington views, and was Deputy Mayor there as well. A huge amount of effort goes into just being a councillor. A huge number of years were put into that role from Anne, but also all those years to be put into more than 8 years as Mayor. It's nice to see some recognition from local government New South Wales. So I'd like to ask Anne to come forward, and I've got a pin and certificate here for a presentation, and I'll just go down the front and have a photo with Anne there, and just a round of applause and congratulations to Anne Jones for that particular award.
Do you mind? Sorry, no one can hear you otherwise.
26 years ago, I started my career as a councillor in this chamber. That was 1995. And during this time, right up until the council election, which was just held and the new council was elected, I have served this community of Wellington. Firstly, as a Deputy Mayor, then as a Mayor, and then of course we were amalgamated and I represented the Wellington ward at Dubbo Regional Council. All I'd like to say really is I'd like to thank the community because they have supported me all those years. Every time I put my hand up, they supported me. Right through this last election, I only lost by 31 votes, but you have 2 councillors who represent Wellington, and I'm sure they will do equally as good a job as the previous Wellington councillors have done. So thank you, Wellington community, for everything that you have done to support me over those years. I haven't gone away, I'm still here, and I still get quite a number of phone calls and I pass those on. So thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne, and again on behalf of Dubbo Regional Council, Anne, congratulations, and thank you on behalf of the entire community for your efforts over all those years. Yeah. It's nice for you to come along and actually be able to receive that in front of the Wellington crowd as well, rather than having to come to Dubbo for that. Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is CCL 22/112, confirmation of minutes. Can I have someone move those minutes from the last council meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge, seconded by Councillor Black. Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Now, the next item is a little bit unusual. We've got a mayoral minute, and I do apologise that this mayoral minute is not part of the business papers. We were sent a letter. A letter was addressed to both myself and the CEO from the Honourable Wendy Tuckerman MP, who's the Minister for Local Government, to give us the good news that Dubbo Regional Council has now been completely lifted from its performance improvement order that it was put on last year. And I would have liked to have put that into the papers, but I needed to get permission from the department to actually include that in the council meeting tonight, and I only got that permission yesterday. So I've included that as a late item, so that's a mayoral minute. For the people in the audience, they'll be available on the minutes when they're published, so they're not in the business papers at the moment. Councillors have received an email with that particular mayoral minute. And I just want to make note of a few things in there. Obviously, it was a performance improvement order that was placed on WA Regional Council last year before this group of councillors were elected. I just make note that the previous Mayor, Stephen Lawrence, and the previous councillors, including Anne Jones, had to take a number of actions in relation to that performance improvement order. So thank you on behalf of the community for those actions that they did undertake, and those actions were then closely monitored by the Department of Local Government, and then at the ultimate outset of all that was that we've now got this letter from the department to say that that performance improvement order has now been lifted. Part of that recognition was also that there were certain steps that had to be taken by the last group, but there was no doubt about it, the letter makes it quite clear that there was an inspection or a close inspection by the department over the new group of councillors and the behaviour of the new group. And certainly the fact that there's been such great participation in training sessions, a really good participation in all the things that we've been doing in this new council was certainly something that pleased the department and made sure that they've got confidence in lifting that performance improvement order. They don't feel the need to sit back and keep a close eye on us. They feel that we're now, or they've got the confidence that we're now free to go forward and basically do what we're meant to do as councillors. So that there is the letter from the government, and there's just a mayoral minute from me. So I move that. I'm happy to take any other comments or questions about that in relation to the performance improvement order or my mayoral minute there. Otherwise, I'll move that and then we'll ask that to be resolved. But any questions or debate, councillors? No, there being none. So I put that mayoral... Councillor Goff.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Now that the orders have come in, that we're all fine and dandy and we're all moving forward, everyone's moving forward, I'd like to see everyone move forward and stop reflecting back to the past council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Any other questions or comment, councillors? No? Okay, councillors, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? And Councillor Ivey, sorry, thank you. It's always a bit of a delay for the remote users. So all those in favour, all those against, declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. Next item of the agenda is mayoral appointments and meetings. So I'll ask Councillor to move those appointments, please. Councillor Chowdhury, seconded by Councillor Goff. Any discussion or questions, councillors, on those? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. The next item is CCL 22/114, the report of the Audit and Risk Management Committee. Have someone move that, please. Councillor Chowdhury, seconded Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just put a comment for that report. Mr John Walcombe done a fantastic report. I think it's very clear and very brief description in there, so community can see what this committee is doing, and I'm really grateful that I'm in part of that committee, and I'm pretty hopeful John Walcombe as a chair will be doing a fantastic job for this year also, this financial year too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Any other questions or debate, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is CCL 22/115, update to functions of standing committees. Can I have someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Black, seconded by Councillor Wright. Any discussion or debate, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/116, councillors, response to notice of motion from WA Regional Council Roads. Can I move that? Thank you, Councillor Black. Seconded by Councillor Etheridge. Discussion or debate? Do you want to speak to that, Councillor Black?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to thank the staff for putting together a fantastic report here, the Director and the Manager of Infrastructure Delivery. I'd just like to highlight a couple of the main points. I won't read the whole document out, although I could. Basically, WA Regional Council has over 2,500 kilometres of roads and 1,300 kilometres of that being unsealed roads. They're local roads to maintain, repair, renew, etc. each year, and there are some serious funding issues. We've got 35 k's of roads get resheeted annually, which is about 3.5% of the unsealed road network, which means every 29 years you get your road fixed. Heavy patching program aimed to remove defects. Excuse me. The funding required, there is a major gap between the funding that we need and the funding that we have to maintain the road network at a satisfactory level. There's any number of reasons for that, but there is a big backlog. About the only way there's two ways to do that. Three ways: increase rates, decrease services and spend it all on roads, or get more funding from state and federal governments. I think it's important that people realise there's a massive backlog. The 20-year cumulative backlog on road repairs is nearly $140 million. So I know it's a big road problem. Everyone knows there's a big road problem, but that is the reality of the situation. So the 20-year backlog, 8.2%, where you're supposed to be lower than 2%. We're simply not getting enough state and federal funding. We really need, everyone in the community needs to call for more state and federal funding. Anytime you're talking to your local member or your federal member, put the acid on them for more money. And as a merged council, the assets of the former Wellington Council need a fair bit of renewal. That all costs money. Dubbo needs renewal, Wellington needs renewal. The fact is that 80% of the amalgamated councils are struggling financially, including Dubbo. We just don't have the funds. We really need more funding from the state government, particularly since they amalgamated us. They really need to come to the party, give us a whole stack of money. It needs to be ongoing money, immediate funding. Federals can chip in some money as well. That'd be fantastic to fix the roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one question. This is a fantastic report done by Council, but is there any action plan Council is taking to clear this backlog, or anything Council will do soon? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Through Mr. CEO.
Through Mr. Mayor, we'll go to the Manager of Infrastructure Delivery, Mr. Luke Ryan.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you can see with the backlog, over time it's increasing simply because we've got a budget, like a projected budget there, and the amount of works that we need to do are above that. So, yes, that's the recognition of working out where we're at and what we need to be doing. Part of that is in terms of what Councillor Black was talking about. Some of that's about being able to grab additional funding, and that's through our grant programs and really, getting as much money that we can get. But it's also our affordability, because we do have matching funds that are required to do that. Grants aren't free. Some are, but there's a lot where we've got to co-contribute. So it's about making sure we've got that balancing of what we can afford and what we would like to get. So, but definitely the push for us is about trying to get extra grant funding for these works.
Through Mr. Mayor, I might just add, so particularly, I guess, in Wellington's case, we've all heard about the renewable energy zone. They have to have a lot of truck movements to enable the renewable energy zone to happen. So we're very conscious of working with the state government agency that needs to deliver that, but also the project proponents, so we can have some upgrade of some of those roads as well. So it's not just grants that we know government hands out, but also, I guess, some creative ideas about how we can tap the private sector as well.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Any further? Councillor Ivey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I understand it, a lot of the trouble with rural roads is that it's easy enough to grade them, but a lot of them do need rebuilding with gravel. And that over the last few years, I gather the EPA have, it's meant that a lot of local gravel supplies are no longer available to council. And as a result of that, the council has to cart gravel from a much greater distance, and that obviously increases the cost and lowers the efficiency. A question through the CEO to staff: is there any way of facilitating or increasing the availability of local gravel supplies so that actually the efficiency of some of these maintenance programs can be improved?
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. I'll throw that to the CEO.
I'll start, and Mr. Ryan can add as well. I think it's not just about that item of efficiency, it's about looking at our whole way we deliver that program. So it's looking at efficiencies everywhere in the process, and particularly resheeting our unsealed roads. But I'll throw to Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, definitely. There's always more than just one solution, I guess, to a problem, and it's about working out the best way that we can actually deliver that service. may mean that it's a big rejig of the whole service itself. And it's also looking at what funding we have available and sort of how we can stretch that. Certainly looking at local supplies there's an advantage to that in terms of being able to get material sourced locally to cut out travelling time. Some of the stuff that we get caught up in is the material fit for purpose for our road users as well, because we are a road authority and we've got to make sure that we're using the right products for the roads. So that all comes in. It's not necessarily the EPA, because we can purchase raw materials, but it's more about making sure it's fit for purpose for the roads. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Ryan. Anything further on that, Councillor Ivey?
No, perhaps just if I could, Mr Mayor, just a rider. Again, just to ensure that the usage of efficiency of the machinery is maximised. You know, as most contractors, private contractors with their machinery would not operate at 35 or 37 hours a week. It would operate sort of 50 or 60 hours a week by having different operators. But I just wonder if Council has any possibility that the efficiency of some of the usage of some of the machinery could be improved.
Thanks, Councillor Ivey. I'll go through to the CEO.
Yeah, so as I said before, we're looking at all parts of the service we do, including reshedding of roads, and it's the overall efficiency we can do. The overall efficiency drive in all elements of the reshedding. We will be bringing service reviews to Council, and indeed on our priorities we did talk about the rural road network as well. There is staff shortage. We're competing with some major players in terms of plant operators as well as the growing mining game. So it is also a challenge in terms of access to skilled workers as well.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Anything further from that?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Councillors, any further questions or discussion? No, there being none. I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. Next item is CCL 22/117, report of the Audit and Risk Management Committee. I have that moved. Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Seconded by Councillor Goff. Discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/118, report of the Infrastructure Planning and Environment Committee meeting. Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have an alternative motion for this, and it reads that the report of the Infrastructure Planning and Environment Committee meeting held on 12 May 2022 be adopted, save and except item IPEC 22/22, which will be dealt with separately.
Thank you, Councillor Black. So moved. Can I have someone second that, please? Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to anything in the overall committee meeting?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, any discussion or debate? And this is from the committee meeting held 2 weeks ago. Any items that you'd like to discuss or debate in relation to that, or any questions from that? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Councillor Etheridge, would you like to move a motion in relation to the item that was removed by Councillor Black?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to put an amendment to IPEC 2222, that the Chief Executive Officer prepare a report for the August 2022 Ordinary Council meeting which provides options and recommendations for Council's transition to a zero-emission fleet. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Can I have someone second that, please? Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Etheridge, would you like to speak to that motion?
I think anything that can help the environment has got to be a plus, but we've got to be realistic with it. We need to look at all of our options. Anything that is innovative and visionary, I'm all in favour of. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. The next item is the report of the Culture and Community Committee meeting held 12th of May, CCL 22/119. Can I have someone move that, please? Councillor Wright. Thank you, Councillor Wright. And seconded by Councillor Etheridge. So this is again the committee meeting from 2 weeks ago. No items to be removed from that, Councillor Wright? No. No, okay, right. Any discussion or debate from that committee meeting, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Report of the Corporate Services Committee meeting held on the 12th of May. Councillor Chowdhury, you want to move that, save and accept an item?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to bring some amendment. Move it. Oh, yeah. Report of the Corporate Service Committee meeting held 12 May 2022 be adopted, save and expect CSC 22/21, which will be dealt with separately. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Have someone second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Goff. Any further items to be removed, councillors? No? Any discussion or debate on the Corporate Services Committee meeting with that item removed? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think it's a good thing that we're having these community committees so that people can have a say. I said it 2 weeks ago and I'd just like to say it again because there's more people watching tonight. The only thing I might change
Sorry, Councillor Black, we haven't moved on to that. That's the item we've removed from the committee. I know you're keen, but that's the part that Councillor Chowdhury just removed from there. Come back to that, so save those thoughts. Any other items, councillors, from the committee meeting, save and accept 22/21? No, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Okay, now the item 22/21. Can I have that moved? Councillor Chowdhury, you're moving that again. Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Seconded by Councillor Black. Now, Councillor Chowdhury, before we go to Councillor Black, do you want to talk to the amendment, or you've actually got to go through the amendment? Sorry, you've got to read that amendment out. Oh, sorry. Go back one step. Councillor Chowdhury, I think it was Councillor Goff that moved that. Sorry, my apologies. Councillor Goff moved that, seconded by Councillor Black.
Amendment for CSC 22/21. 1, that the terms of reference be amended to reflect the councillor representative numbers as outlined in point 3. 2, that the terms of reference for committees, including the Aquatics Working Party, be adopted with the above amendments. 3, that the councillor representative to the committees be as follows. Everyone got a chair? A, Councillors Black and Chowdhury on the Aquatics Working Party. B, the Mayor, Councillor Ivey and Wright on the Climate Change and Resilience Committee. C, Councillors Byrne, Mann and Wells on the Cultural and Tourism Facility Committee. D, the Mayor and Councillors Etheridge, Mann on the Dubbo Regional Livestock Market Advisory Committee. E, the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Councillors Chowdhury and Wright on the Financial Performance Committee. F, Councillors Chowdhury and Wright on the Multicultural Advisory Committee. G, the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Councillors Black and Goff on the Public Spaces Tree Committee. H, Councillors Byrne and Wells on the Reconciliation Action Plan Working Group. I, Councillors Burns, Chowdhury and Goff on the Sister City Committee. J, Councillors Eldridge, Goff and Wells on the Social Justice Advisory Committee. K, Councillors Black, Burns and Wright on the SPEC Committee. L, the Deputy Mayor and Councillors Chowdhury on the Villages Committee. M, the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Goff on the Wellington Town Committee. N, Councillors Byrne, Wells and Wright on the Rawadri Town Tourism Project Committee. O, Councillors Goff and Wells on the Women's Leadership Forum. And P, Councillors Burns, Goff and Wells on the Youth Council.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. That's obviously been seconded there. Councillor Goff, that's the amendment or the motion there. Do you wish to speak to that in terms of those committees and those memberships?
No, thank you, Mayor. Mr Mayor. I've done enough talking.
You said enough, you think. So, councillors, any discussion or debate in relation to those? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll go back to where I was a minute ago. Went off a bit early. It's good that we've got these committees coming on. There's some really exciting committees there. And I said it a fortnight ago, the only thing I might change would be that a lot of people have spoken to me about this, would be next time to include a Disability Access Committee. People with disabilities see that as a real issue, and I can understand that because having a disability is a 24/7 part of their life, and we might think about that next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Further, Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I know that when we called for interest in those committees, there was a number of other committees that were requested that weren't able to be formed on this occasion, and one of them was a submission from the Dubbo Chamber of Commerce, and I believe that economic development in the region itself is extremely important, and to have a cohesive relationship between council and those local chambers is extremely important. So, at a point in the future, I would like to bring the idea of an economic type committee to these committees that we hold at the moment. So stay tuned, I hope.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other further comments or questions, councillors, in relation to the committees we've got there, the structure, the makeup of those committees? No? Councillor Goff, do you wish to have a right of reply?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we have that before us, councillors. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is a notice of motion, CCL 22/121, 3D printed housing trial. Councillor Wright, would you like to move your motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The motion being that council set aside up to 4 residential blocks from the Stage 5 Release 3 of Keswick Residential Land Release to enable a trial of 3D printed housing stock subject to regulatory guidelines. And 2, that the CEO provide a report to the Ordinary Council meeting in September 22 that addresses A, regulatory issues pertaining to 3D printed housing in New South Wales and Australia, and B, defines a framework by which Council would meet its legislative obligations, minimises costs to Council and attracts competitive proposals to use Council residential land to trial 3D printed technology suitable for the regional New South Wales housing market.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Can I have someone second that, please? Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Wright, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mr Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Etheridge, for supporting that as well. This one's a little bit out there, and I suppose we start talking about printing. Anything other than printing words on a page seems a little bit outside the box. But 3D printing's been around since the early 1980s, and it's not something that's relatively new. It is used quite heavily in the medical industry and in the automotive industry. There's a couple of really good examples of how that would work, and it really does have unlimited potential. 3D printing of houses is something that's in the very early days of technology advancement. Germany, Italy and the US have certainly adopted the printing of housing stock and even parts of houses using specialised printers. And when we talk about printing, we're talking about printing it in things like concrete or mud or even things like plastics, which might not be as environmentally friendly. Walls, roofs, floors, even the chairs and tables inside a house can be theoretically 3D printed. It can be modular type homes. It can be built very, very quickly and brought to site or constructed on site, but they are very, very efficient when it comes to the reduction in excess building materials and also the speed at which getting them to market, which a lot of the players in the industry claim they could potentially be building houses in a matter of weeks rather than a matter of months. And that's really important in an environment which we're currently in, whereby we have such a demand for housing, and especially low-cost housing, which could be produced to market very, very quickly. I know this has brought out some great conversation in social media, and this motion we've got on the table here is really about starting that conversation and encouraging the community to consider alternate means of housing and not just that traditional method of constructing a house and getting it to market. So it's great that social media has been involved. There's still a need for tradespeople. You know, we still potentially need to put kitchens in these houses, and electricians are needed, and plumbers, and glaziers, painters, even plasterers. So tradespeople will still potentially be involved in the construction of these types of dwellings. So this report itself is not necessarily about just producing something in a report from council, but more so just encouraging the community to get involved in that discussion, which we hope they do over the coming months. The land we're referring to is not the land that's being released by council in the next couple of months, but it is the land that we're referring to in the next stage, which will be potentially late 2023. So we do have 18 months or so to have a look at these 3D printed houses as an option. I would hope that over the next 18 months to 2 years we see some advances in this type of technology, and Dubbo could potentially be a bit of a shining light and show that in regional New South Wales we are leaders in technology advancements as well, and it'd be great to form a part. We have flagged up to 4 blocks. This might be 1 block of land, this might be no blocks of land, and I'll be really interested to see the report when it comes back from Council in a few months' time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Other discussion, councillors? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks.
Yes, good motion. Start again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, good motion on the 3D printed houses. I'm a huge fan of those. I first became aware when I read an article in the Photo News by John Ryan some years ago. I've watched many hours of printing houses on YouTube. I've thought about doing that on my own block in Dubbo. But then, as I said to Councillor Wright today in a discussion, I decided I liked the solitude better than having 5 houses, money-making little houses there. It's a great initiative for affordable, quick, fast housing. It looks like social housing. You just print it overnight virtually, chuck in some windows and fit it out, and you're up and going in weeks rather than a year. I thought that maybe we might have been putting the cart before the horse a bit, but in further discussions I've been assured that it'll be fine. I was just a bit worried that we might be committing to reserving $1 million worth of blocks before we had the report. I'm really looking forward to this report coming in September, and yeah, we can reserve blocks for things like that. We can also reserve blocks for first home buyers, for alcohol and other drug centres, and also reduce developer contributions and reserve blocks for affordable housing. So we can do that in Dubbo, and this motion proves it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. I've got Councillor Etheridge, then I've got Councillor Ivey, then Councillor Showery. Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo everything that Councillor Wright said. It's innovative. It's amazing. Technology is just going ahead in leaps and bounds, and if we don't embrace it, we're going to be left behind. It's the way of the future, and this motion doesn't lock us into anything. It's just we're going to have a really good look at it and see if it is going to be the way of the future. So I totally support this motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Ivey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I support the motion also, probably for some of the reasons have already been outlined. I don't know whether we need to absolutely commit to having 4 blocks, up to 4 blocks made available. I think if the technology is there, then those 4 blocks will be used and built on. If the whole thing proves to be a bit of a furphy and actually it's not commercially viable for whatever reason, the council of the day will not be committed to preserving the blocks. It can change those blocks and build conventional housing on them if that's appropriate at the time. So I think it's a great motion. It stimulates a lot of public awareness, a lot of public debate, and without committing council to a non-reversible situation, if it's commercially sensible at the time to reverse that decision to put 4 blocks there for 3D housing. If it's not commercially sensible, council will not have to do it. I think it's a great motion.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Councillor Showery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to support this motion. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Councillor Wright brought this motion because we want to be also part of this region as a technology-based. We don't want to get behind with other region. We want to show the community we have these options available, and if investor and other parties come and do like to invest here, there's an option available. So I really support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Showery. Anything, Councillor Goff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support the motion as well. I like to see anything innovative. I'm very big on moving forward, as everyone can tell. Currently, this week, I've had a friend who's lost their house due to a fire, and having 3D printing, if that is such a great technology that we can get these houses up quickly, or more emergency housing is needed in the area. And we're not talking just for anyone who is getting out of a situation, but he's finding it hard. He's sleeping in his business. So I'm all for anything that's going to get these houses up faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Any further questions or debate, councillors? Councillor Wright, you have a right of reply.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, councillors, we have the motion before us there. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. Next item is CCL 22/122. This is a notice of motion from Councillor Mann. Unfortunately, Councillor Mann can't be with us tonight. I think Councillor Black, you're going to move that on his behalf.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, this is Councillor Mann's motion, and it reads as follows: that the Chief Executive Officer establish an effective mechanism of regular benchmarking, reporting to Council on key facilities, major capital projects and strategic programs. The mechanism should be easy to interpret and utilise data that is already being collected for operational purposes. Such dashboard reporting could include, as relevant, comparative period reporting of facility service usage and engagement, operational performance against budget, benchmarking to other councils, and high-level reasoning around positive or negative change in facility service performance.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Can I have someone second that, please? Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I've got a note here from Councillor Mann, who I consider one of the great business analytical minds on council at the moment. Basically, he's looking at, in essence, consolidating and simplifying some of the data we already collect, which hopefully doesn't create a lot of new work for someone but gives councillors and the public better comparisons of performance either versus a prior period or against known benchmarks in the local government space. Thank you.
Well spoken, Councillor Black. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, as a new councillor, certainly the last 6 or so months has been a pretty steep learning curve, and the way that some of these reports have been presented for interpretation, especially to new councillors, is even after an element of training has been a little bit complex and possibly confusing. We are a council that is very big on transparency and being able to provide information to the community. So to be able to provide it in a digestible way so that the community can also understand the figures that we're looking at, I think is a positive. So it's a great motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to put a comment. I think this dashboard would be fantastic because of community want to see what's happening, and this dashboard will give them the true reflex what we as a councillor and the council what we're doing for them. And I think it will be easy to understand the metrics the council is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Any further questions or debate, councillors? No, there being none, Councillor Black, do you wish to use your right of reply? No, okay. Okay, councillors, we have that notice of motion before us. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item, councillors, is CCL 22/124, delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer. Can I have someone move that report? Oops, sorry.
That one you threw it away too.
Okay. Just seeing if anyone's paying attention. Good work. So, CCL 22/123, March 2022 quarterly budget review statements. It's not that I was trying to gloss over them. It's not that they're bad, good or indifferent and trying to gloss over them. It was my simple mistake, sorry. Now, we've got an alternative motion there, Councillor Chowdhury. So, Councillor Chowdhury, would you like to move that motion, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move this alternative motion CCL 22/123, point 123 to remain the same, with additional point 4 as follows. The Chief Executive Officer provide information to councillors regarding additional way of presenting financial reports to council while still meeting the reporting requirements under current legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. This isn't an amendment, Councillor. This is the motion move. So it's 1 to 3 and then 4, which Councillor Chowdhury's added on then. Can I have someone second that, please? That full motion. Councillor Goff. And Councillor Chowdhury, would you like to speak to your motion, please?
I think this is very good. Option would be for, as a new councillor, when we get the report from Chief Executive Officer, a bit more details, it will help us to understand a bit more, and then with that basis we can take some decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Any other speakers or questions, councillors? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Looking through these, the quarterly budget review, COVID has really impacted the council budget in a negative way. There's also increasing costs. The budget is under pressure all the time, but I noticed point 3 about some reimbursement for council's costs. That would be fantastic and would be a massive help that council incurred in the COVID crisis. Let's call it what it was. But COVID and increasing costs have really impacted the budget in a negative way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Any other discussion? Councillor Wright.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, also with regards to point 3 in that motion, look, Dubbo Regional Council was a shining light when it came to the response to COVID. It come at quite a significant cost to Dubbo Regional Council and to the community. There's a number of community groups that were involved in almost a daily meeting. There was a lot of coordination in the background from all facets of council. So, look, I think that as a reward, if you like, for Dubbo Regional Council for providing that I suppose the highest level possible response to that, and a lot of other local centres actually learning from Dubbo Regional Council. I think the state government to step up and come to the party with regards to that reimbursement would be a fantastic thank you to the contribution that was made. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other discussion, councillors? No. Councillor Chowdhury, you have a right of reply if you wish to use it.
No, all good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, councillors. We have the motion there, councillors. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. Now, moving on to CCL 22/124, delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer. Can someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Black. Seconded by Councillor Wright. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thanks.
Okay, councillors. Any discussion or debate or questions, councillors, in relation to the delegation of authority of the Chief Executive Officer? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/125, Council Policy, Use of the Common Seal of Council. Can I have someone move that one, please? Thank you, Councillor Black. And someone second that as well, please. Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you, councillors. Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/126, the Troy Rail Deviation Project. Have someone move that, please. Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Seconded by Councillor Wright. Councillor Etheridge, do you wish to speak to that? No, thank you, Mr Mayor. Okay, thank you, councillors. Any discussion or debate? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/127, Dubbo Regional Council, Implementation of Child Safe Standards. Can I have someone move this report from the Director of Livability, please? Thank you, Councillor Goff. Seconded by Councillor Black. Councillor Goff, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/128, DRTCC Photography Policy Review. Can I have someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Goff. Seconded by Councillor Black. Councillor Goff, do you wish to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I commend the staff on this report. I'm fully in supportive of these standards, that this policy review. As the mother of a little girl, you can't take too much caution in the wind, and a product of Eisteddfods, I don't think it's necessary to be taking pictures in the wings either. Anything to protect the children is all in. Got to go forward. Thank you.
I might just ask the CEO to just give a very brief update on some of the major changes in this particular policy, because obviously there was a policy in place before, and this is a review of that. So I might just throw to the CEO, who might want to ask one of his staff to give a quick update on that.
Yeah, if I could, I'll throw to the manager, Kim Haig, Mrs. Kim Haig.
Hi. So the initial policy had photographs that were allowed in 2 areas backstage. Both were designated areas. The new updated policy now allows photographs to be taken throughout backstage, on the stage and the wings, with the exception of the dressing rooms and toilets. No, I think that's all. Did you?
Through Mr Mayor, I might just talk about where the onus previously has been on council to police everything happening, and now there's a shift in this policy as well. If you could, Ms Haig.
Thank you. So in previous, it has been the staff of the DRTCC's responsibility to police the photography policy. In the renewed policy, it is a split responsibility between both the hirers, such as the Stedford, and also the DRTC staff and the management to look after that. We have done extensive consultation with external groups, including the Office of the Children's Guardian, and their recommendation was not to allow any photographs in the toilets or in the dressing rooms.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, councillors. And again, I think the important part there was a lot of consultations being done to arrive at this particular spot at the moment, and that's where that policy review comes from. So, councillors, any further discussion or debate? Councillor Ivey.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd again like to congratulate the staff for that document. Reading through it, it seemed to make a lot of sense, and it seemed to me to reverse the situation back to sort of some degree of normality where bureaucracy perhaps hasn't gone mad. It does seem to be a very good balance between protecting the rights of the children and making sure they are not exploited in any way, but also making it a good community inclusive approach, and perhaps echoes what Ms Jeffries was talking about during the public forum. So no, I'd very much support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? No. Councillor Goff, do you wish to use your right of reply?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you, councillors. We have the recommendation before us. Discussion debate finished. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/129, the Event Assistance Program 2021-22 Round 2. Can I have someone move that, please? Thank you. Councillor Etheridge. Have someone second that, please. Councillor Black. Councillor Etheridge, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor. It's self-explanatory.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to point out that the Macquarie River Platypus Survey, which I thought would have been a fantastic community event, didn't qualify for funds, so that's a real shame. But the people that were responsible for that, I'd encourage them to look at state and federal grant funds that may be available, because that would be a very interesting result, seeing how many platypi there are in the Macquarie River. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Councillor Wright.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just a comment on the use of a little bit of common sense here. I understand that there was an oversubscription in the Community Events Fund, but an undersubscription in the Emerging Events Fund. So to be able to shuffle money from one to the other to try and meet the needs of the others who entered the Community Events Fund, I think that should be applauded by council. Sometimes we don't see a lot of common sense within government decisions, but certainly from a local government perspective, I applaud the team for drafting funds back across to try and meet those needs.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other questions or debate? Councillor Ivey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Could I just make the comment that the three events which I had personal involvement with, the Burrendong Easter Fishing Classic, the Stewarttown Multicultural Festival and the Wellington Stedford are fantastic events, and the fact that they get some support from our council and we're seen to be publicly supporting them is just worth a lot more than just the money they get. So I commend the council on providing those funding to those organisations.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Etheridge, you use your right of reply.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item, CCL 22/130, Memorandum of Understanding, Dubbo Regional Council and Charles Sturt University. Can someone move that report, please? Thank you, Councillor Wright. Seconded by Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Wright, do you wish to speak to that?
Sure, thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, Charles Sturt University has a great presence within the Dubbo community, and I see the update here to the MOU, including the indoor multi-sport facility and the regional sports hub, which will be two enormously growing precincts over the next 5 to 10 years as that continues to expand. So look to extend this MOU and have that partnership between council and Charles Sturt Uni is to be applauded, and I can't wait to see the outcomes over the next 5 years, especially regarding that sports hub behind the CSU. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Ivey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I'd like to endorse those comments and support the motion that the Dubbo region can benefit enormously from that tertiary education input, and Charles Sturt University have been fantastic partners within the region over the number of years. Sydney University, through their School of Rural Health, also provide benefits, and I think the more that the Dubbo Regional Council can cooperate with and encourage and facilitate the development of tertiary education in our region, all the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Any other discussion to debate, councillors? Idea, there being none. Councillor Wright, there's probably not much reply really there with what Councillor Ivey said.
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So, councillors, all those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Councillors, CCL 22/131, Reflect Reconciliation Action Plan. Can I have someone move the report of the Manager Community Services, please? Thank you, Councillor. Sorry, just one second. Thank you, Councillor Black. Moved by Councillor Black. Seconded, please, by Councillor Etheridge. Okay, Councillor Burns, you were going to declare your... No, sorry, my apologies. Next one.
Are we on that?
No, we're just on that. I was just making sure you're warming up ready for the next one.
That's my mistake.
Moved by Councillor Black, that's fine. Discussion or debate, councillors, in relation to the Reflect Reconciliation Action Plan. Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to make the point that it is National Sorry Day, and it's good to see that we have a reconciliation action plan as a council and as a community. It's important that we do everything we can in our position to raise all boats and make the whole community better for everyone, and this document, I hope, should do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. CCL 22/132, Updated Partnership Agreement between Dubbo Regional Council and Dubbo Regional Aboriginal Community Working Party. Have someone move that, please. Thank you, Councillor Black. Seconded by Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Burns.
I'm just declaring a conflict, non-pecuniary, less than significant conflict of interest with the MOU with the Dubbo Aboriginal Community Working Party, because I'm on the Dubbo Aboriginal Community Working Party as a community member and may be perceived as a pecuniary interest, but there is none. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Councillors, any discussion, Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that motion?
No, thank you.
Councillors, any discussion or debate? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is 22/133, so we've got an alternative motion compared to what's printed in the business papers there. Councillor Goff, you wish to move that alternative motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Alternative motions CCL 22/133. 1, that the application detailed in Table 2, reviewed and considered by Dubbo Regional Council, be noted. 2, that Council allocate to the community-based organisations the following funds in accordance to Section 356 of the Local Government Act 1993, and notification to be sent to each successful applicant. The Wellington's Lion Club, $3,550. Bingjeng Radio, $10,000. Wellington Soldiers Citizens Club, $3,646. Combabella Public Hall Trust, $5,170. Wellington Junior Rugby Union Club, $2,267. Currajong Jump Club, $6,902. Central West Working Horse, $9,341. PCYC Wellington, $10,000. Wellington Golf Club, $3,272. Wellington District Cricket Association, $2,852. And 3, that all unsuccessful applicants be advised of Council's Grants Hub, as well as other funding opportunities and any advice in assist future applications for council financial assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. If someone second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Goff, do you wish to speak to your motion? Okay, thank you, councillors. Any discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Ivey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd just like to, one, congratulate the successful applicants. I think that $57,000 being spent within the Wellington community is a fantastic boost. I think the multiplier of, that comes out of that money is certainly maybe twice or maybe three times, because the community benefit which flows through from that money to the local community is fantastic. And I think that on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank the Budangra Wind Farm, which is through their company, that we appreciate the money and that it'll be well spent, and that we really do believe that it's very much for the community benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, congratulations to those groups that were successful in gaining funding. Just wanted to make a comment more than anything. I noticed there's a couple of those clubs that didn't quite get the money that they had requested, and a number of other groups that didn't receive any of those funds. What a great opportunity for some local businesses to step up to the plate and help some community groups who might be able to contribute some money to some of these small community groups. So just a comment to local business who might be able to help out and partner up. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other discussion or debate, councillors? No. Councillor Goff, do you wish to use your right of reply?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have the motion before us, councillors. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is CCL 22/134. Again, we've got a slightly different motion as to what's printed in the business papers. Councillor Wright.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is an alternative motion of CCL 22/134. It's quite a long one, bear with me. One, that the applications detailed in Table 2, reviewed and considered by Dubbo Regional Council, be noted. Two, that Council allocate $45,568 to the community-based organisations the following funds in accordance with Section 356 of the Local Government Act 1993, and notification to be sent to each successful applicant. SOMAD, Songwriters and Original Musicians Associations of Dubbo, $1,197. Western Region Academy of Sport, $3,218. Guide Dogs New South Wales /ACT, $3,790. Dubbo and District Pipe Band, $2,500. Comabella Hall Trust, $8,663. Dubbo and District Parent Support for Deaf and Hearing Impaired Inc., $8,500. Lords and Community Services, $3,500. Dubbo Filmmakers Inc., $3,000. U3A Dubbo Chapter Inc., $3,000. And Walter T. Grant Memorial Seniors Social Club, $7,450. Number three, that all unsuccessful applicants be advised of Council's Grant Hub, as well as other funding opportunities and any advice to assist future applicants for Council financial assistance. And four, please note that the Director of Livability did not provide any comment or consideration for the Dubbo and District Pipe Band application due to a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Have someone second that, please. Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Wright, do you wish to speak to that motion?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillors, any discussion or debate? Councillor Black, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's great that as a council and a community that we can allocate some funds to things such as the guide dogs and especially the Hear Our Heart hearing bus. As a teacher, high school teacher, I've heard so many times over the years about the can't hear, can't learn, and it really is true. Anything we can do to basically help kids with their hearing, make sure they can learn, set them up for life is a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Any other discussion or debate? Questions, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item, councillors, is CCL 22/135, Financial Assistance 2021-22 Round 1. Can someone move the report, please? Thank you, Councillor Black. Seconded by Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Discussion or debate, councillors, in relation to this one? No. There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Okay, that brings us to the end of the items on the meeting. We've got comments and matters of urgency now, councillors. I'll start at the left-hand side. I'll go around and I'll go to Councillor Ivey after I go through the people physically here. So I'll start at Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I've got 4 very quick items this month. Number 1, if you've got a pothole or you see something that needs fixing, jump on the DRC and me and log it. You get a number and it will be put through the system. Number 2, I note that the Indian miner bird trapping program has trapped at least 50 Indian miners over the last little while. That's fantastic. I'm encouraged by the community participation in that. Doing the same for feral cats would be good as well. The third point was the Alcohol and Other Drug Rehab Centre. There was a meeting last Monday, I think it was. There was some progress. Really, the state government, local health district, get on board and let's make this really happen quickly. I noticed that the Glen Rehab Centre said they have more than 200 applications every month and they're a 35-bed facility, so the need is real, the need is out there. My last point, it was with some dismay that I saw the federal member, Mark Colton, opening a Warrialda bypass the other week. Good on Warrialda, a little community of 1,300 people, for getting a bypass. If Dubbo could get a bypass, a town of 42,000 plus people on the Newell Highway, a confluence of 3 highways, the Newell, the Mitchell and the Golden Highway, that would be fantastic. I note that my amendment from a few months back to send a letter seeking funding to the state and federal governments, we haven't been successful in getting a response to that funding yet. It's a shame that Mr Colton didn't live in Dubbo because he's from Warrialda and Warrialda got a bypass. Maybe Dubbo might have got one if he was from Dubbo. And now he's in opposition. He's going to be relying on goodwill, he said. We'll see how good that goes. Probably like the commuter car parks, the sports rorts, the regional grant funding money that was spent on the North Sydney swimming pool. We'll see how much we get in Dubbo. But New South Wales farmers contacted me. Their policy is to have bypasses on all Newell Highway towns and cities. That includes Dubbo, so they are really supportive. Everyone in the transport industry knows that Dubbo needs a bypass. We really need the state and federal government to step up, first of all, provide the funding so that we can reserve a route and plan for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Councillor Burns.
The only thing that I'd like to say at the moment is it's awesome to see the Aboriginal flag hanging in the background with all the other flags. I hope that we can do that in Dubbo. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Councillor Goff.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I want to commend the staff for the great NRL match that we had last weekend. All the work that was put into it was just incredible. Some of the councillors went to the grounds Friday morning before the game, and it just blows your mind how much work has to go into it, and I just commend the staff entirely. On a personal note, I normally stand here and talk about all the positive things that we've done in the past, but this time I'm making a plea for understanding. Most of the councillors you see here have other jobs, family and business. We're on other committees, but everyone here has the drive to want to do something better for this community. So I ask for understand that we're also human, we make mistakes, we miss emails, we forget details and we have emotions. I know it's shocking, we're not all superhuman. So if you want help, maybe be a bit kinder and just remember that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Today is National Sorry Day here in Australia, so I would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the elders and traditional owners of the land on which we currently reside, the Wiradjuri people and of the Wiradjuri Nation. National Sorry Day is the date that carries great significance for the Stolen Generation and other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Today is acknowledged by all Australians as we continue to take steps towards healing and reconciliation. And I'll make another comment. Thank you, Dubbo Regional Council arranged this meeting today at Wellington, and thank you all the Wellington residents came here, shown your support, because at the day end we want to show we all, Dubbo Wellington, we all won. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Showery. Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I attended the Glen Rehab Forum on Monday, and it was very informative. They were very helpful. Their experience and expertise in the field is second to none. The advice that they gave was just fantastic. They will be doing. There was a lot of points that the community that was there raised that should be addressed when we're building this facility. All those points will go into a letter to health, and as soon as we get a letter back, when we get a response back from them, we will be reconvening to keep the pressure up. We need to keep the pressure up, otherwise it's just going to go by the wayside. We've started it now, we've got the motion happening, and we just need to keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On Thursday the 12th of May, I had the privilege of joining the Salvation Army to launch their Red Shield appeal, and I was very warmly welcomed by Captains David and Lara Sutcliffe. The Red Shield appeal, for many of you in the room would have heard of the Red Shield appeal before, I would imagine, and many of you have probably previously participated. I think I was a 14-year-old kid when I first started knocking on doors around Forbes to help out in the Red Shield appeal. It began in 1965, and it's their signature fundraising event. Their website states that every 17 seconds the Salvos help someone at a service or a program, and the Red Shield appeal this year runs over the months of April, May and June, and the actual door knocking, if you like, takes place on the 28th and 29th of May. That's this weekend. But you don't have to be a physical door knocker now. You could be a digital door knocker, and there's quite a bit of information on their website as to how you can assist. The cost of living is increasing by the day. We're well aware of that, and the cost of housing is increasing as well. And there's going to be the lives of many is about to get a lot tougher over the next couple of years. Money collected locally stays local, and that's a really important facet when it comes to supporting the Salvos and that Red Shield appeal. So I'd encourage you to get behind the Salvos this year, jump on board of their Red Shield appeal, and help a local person make their life a little bit easier. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Wright. Councillor Ivey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I just register my disappointment that, in fact, I couldn't be there in person tonight. The first meeting of this new council in Wellington, and blasted COVID-related requirement of self-isolation meant that I'm just stuck up on the wall as a picture. But I would have loved to have been there. But in saying that, can I just congratulate and say thanks to the Mayor and the staff for initiating and supporting the whole idea of having this meeting in Wellington. I think it's been very worthwhile. I think it's been very successful. It's some inconvenience, I know, to staff, and obviously thank you to the councillors who travelled down from Dubbo, but I really do believe it's done a lot of good. I thought that the public forum, wasn't it terrific? There was a range of issues, some very local, some region-based. The speaker from the Charles Sturt University down to Mr Trounce talking about Renshaw, the potholes in Renshaw McGirr Way. But just if you look back over the range of speakers, where they're coming from and what angle they were pursuing, I think that's what public forum should be about. And the fact that it's certainly been one of the more successful public forums of my short duration on council, I think spoke well to the idea of having this council meeting in Wellington. So again, Mr Mayor, thank you for your initiative and support, and councillors and staff and the public too for coming along and really expressing the desire for the local community to be involved in their regional council. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Ivey, and I agree. I think it's great to see so many people in the public forum. Just a couple of quick things from myself. Today I was down in Sydney when the staff had organised for the media group, about 20 people from different media outlets throughout Sydney, to talk about the Great Big Adventure Pass. And the Great Big Adventure Pass is something that's a collaboration that's quite difficult to do, because you've got three completely separate organisations together. You've got Council with the Wellington Caves and the Old Dubbo Jail. You've got the Royal Flying Doctor Service with the visitor experience, and then Taronga Western Plains Zoo. And I just want to make comment that probably the part that got the most comment today when we did the presentation was the Wellington Caves. We had some presentations about the jail, about the visitor experience, about the zoo. Most of the people in the room were vaguely familiar or had already visited those three. But the Wellington Caves, when we spoke about those, and it wasn't me speaking about them, it was Michelle from the Caves speaking about them in great detail and with great passion as she does, that certainly gained a lot of interest from the various journos in the room, and very keen to come out and see that and be a part of that. So that Great Big Adventure Pass, I think, is great to tie those various attractions together, and getting those different organisations together to talk is fantastic. But I was just interested in how much interest there was in that. Multicultural Festival in Stewarttown recently was fantastic as well, very well attended. I know some of the councillors in the room here had some part to do with it and actually went out and attended on the day. Some of the people in the room I saw out there itself. That was fantastic to see a community together, lots of stall holders, lots of people out there. And Stewarttown has had two big events over probably the space of a month and a half, with the Man from Ironbark Festival and then the Multicultural Festival. So great to see such a small community have so many people go and visit that. The last one was the Australia Day. It was mentioned by Mr Griggs in his presentation. So that's something that both Councillor Ivor and myself did actually sit on the Australia Day committee this year when we had the presentations, or the organisation for Australia Day this year. And that's something that we have discussed already, and there are some workshops coming up to look at how we actually break apart that and go back to something similar to what Mr Griggs talked about, where we do actually have an Australia Day committee for Wellington, an Australia Day committee for Dubbo, and making those judgings. I won't presuppose what might happen with those, but that's the general plan, is to break those up and have some of those judgings done at the local level rather than done all at a central level. There'll be some more details about that, but it's good to see some passion from the Wellington community around those. And the last one was NRL, which Councillor Goff mentioned as well. Again, my congratulations to our staff and all the organisation there. The really interesting thing for this community as a whole, as Dubbo Regional Council as a whole, will be going forward. We've had a contribution of $150,000 from the state government for the last 2 years. Obviously, we've got to work on the state government to keep getting that contribution, but also do an analysis after that match to see where we ended up financially. I think we'll be okay in terms of the $200,000 we had to contribute. Ticket sales, I think we'll cover that cost and make a little bit of money on that. The real decision for overall this community is what do we do going forward, in particular if the state government doesn't give us that money. It was a fantastic event for the day, but is the community happy with that costing us money, or are they happy to have it as long as it doesn't cost us money? That's the decision we've got to make going forward. So thank you again for everyone coming along, all the speakers. It was fantastic to see so many people passionate, as Councillor Ivey said. Great to see so many people come along, great to see people passionate about their community. And again, as you know, we've got 3 of these meetings a year in Wellington, but don't feel like this is your only chance ever to have a say to councillors. You can ring councillors, you can email councillors, you can contact council in general, but it is great to see people here in the flesh. So that's the end of the open part of the council. I will talk now about one last item, which is a confidential item. Under Section 10A of the Local Government Act, the next item being item CCL 22/137, tender for project management and quantity surveyor services, creation of panel, has been identified as likely to be discussed in a closed session of council pursuant to Section 10A 2DI of the Act, information that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it. Can I now have someone move us into confidential session to deal with this confidential item? Councillor Goff, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Etheridge. Now, we've had no applications from members of the public to make their representations regarding whether the meeting should be closed to the public. Do any members of the public in the public gallery have any comments to make regarding the proposal to hear item CCL 22/137 in a closed session of council? And the fact that everyone's leaving, I'm guessing that's a no. Thank you again for your attendance. Councillors, any questions or debate from councillors on this particular motion? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. So the streaming will now be turned off. Any members of the public will be asked to leave the chamber, but they've already read the writing on the wall. They've already left. The chamber will be reopened and the live stream restarted after deliberations on this matter, when the resolution of this will be made public. Okay, the council has returned to open session at 7:19 p.m. Welcome back. I'll just wait and see. Thank you, Mr. Howlett. Just open the door. Make sure there's no one there with a glass.
No, they can't.
Okay. No one's waiting outside there? No. Okay, thank you. Welcome back. I now ask the Governance and Internal Control Manager to read the report of the confidential session of Council.
Item CCL 22/137, tender for project management and quantity surveyor services, creation of panel. 1, that the firms listed below be accepted onto a panel to provide project management services to Council for an initial term of 3 years. APP, Concept Solutions, Constructive Solutions, Lacon, Lions Advantage, Public Works, RPS Consulting, Upright Management, WPS, being Western Project Services. 2, that the firms listed below be accepted onto a panel to provide quantity surveyor services to Council for an initial term of 3 years. Lions Advantage MBM TBH WT Partnership.
Thank you, Ms Rouse. There are no further items for consideration of the ordinary council meeting. I declare the meeting closed at 7:20 p.m. Web streaming will now be turned off. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you, councillors.